The Arctic is not just a frozen wilderness. It is an arena where strength determines survival. A polar bear moves forward in silence, every sense sharpened to its limit. In a sudden surge, sheer weight and instinct take control of the pursuit. Yet dominance is never guaranteed. Another presence is already waiting to claim its share. In this numbing cold, the throne of ice doesn't belong to the slow. Across the frozen tundra, where temperatures often drop to -30 degrees Fahrenheit, the reindeer stands as a symbol of northern endurance. Each year, the herd travels more than 2,000 miles, carrying antlers weighing nearly 30 pounds and wide hooves that spread weight across soft snow. The polar bear, the quiet ruler of the Arctic, represents extreme adaptation, relying not on speed, but on strategy. Weighing around 1,500 pounds, it studies wind and terrain, using 40-mile-per-hour gusts to blur sound and scent. That advantage allows the predator to approach individuals that fall behind or grow fatigued during the long migration. When the herd is pressed toward shallow ice-rimmed lakes, its mobility begins to fade. Slippery surfaces and frigid water disrupt the running rhythm, while a layer of fat more than 4 inches thick helps the bear maintain steady pressure. In a precisely timed surge, the advantage shifts decisively. In the stark silence of the North, this is not merely a meal, it is the outcome of strategy, opportunity, and the fragile balance at the top of the world. Along the gravel shores of the Arctic Ocean, the walrus appears like a living fortress. Weighing around 3,700 pounds as an adult, with tusks stretching close to 3 feet, it signals clearly that it is no easy target. When the herd presses tightly together, it forms a moving wall of defense. For that reason, the polar bear does not charge in seeking a quick finish. It studies the formation, searching for a gap in the herd's order. When the moment comes, it moves along the edge to trigger confusion, pushing the group toward the sea. In that brief disruption lies the real opportunity, a young individual falling out of sync. The bear closes in and delivers decisive forward swipes. In the polar region, every minute of pursuit burns thousands of calories, turning walrus hunts into costly risks, with success rates often below 10%. Strength is not only measured in the approach, but also in the decision to withdraw at the right time. Conserving energy, enduring the season, and waiting for the ice to open another opportunity. Summer fractures massive sheets of ice, opening narrow channels that become migration routes for the unicorns of the sea, the narwhal. Weighing around 3,500 pounds and carrying a spiraled tusk that can reach nearly 10 feet, they glide through the cold water like proud shadows of the northern ocean. When the tide recedes, the polar bear does not rush. It stands motionless, like a living stone, waiting for a brief lapse as the narwhal pod focuses on Arctic cod near the ice edge. At times, it commits fully with a plunge from nearly 10 feet above, swift, controlled without excess. Yet the frigid sea rarely favors the slower contender. And sometimes, nature balances the scale in another way. A stranded whale becomes a rare source of energy, its blubber measuring about 4 inches thick. There is no triumph, no spectacle, only the quiet transfer of energy continuing its cycle. In the White Kingdom, 6 seal lineages form a lifeline for the entire ecosystem. Among them, the ringed seal, about 5 feet long and weighing roughly 150 pounds, stands as the most critical link. To endure beneath thick sea ice, it maintains narrow breathing holes only 8 inches wide, a biological structure that sustains life, yet also creates vulnerability. Just above the frozen surface, the polar bear begins its silent ritual. With paws nearly 12 inches across acting as natural shock absorbers, the predator moves without sound, sensing subtle shifts in the wind from as far as half a mile away. It pauses, lowers its body, and compresses every motion into stillness. When the seal rises for air, the quiet instantly breaks. In less than a second, a swift strike removes any chance to retreat. Hunting does not occur on ice alone. When the floes fracture into drifting fragments, the polar bear shifts roles, becoming a powerful swimmer capable of traveling dozens of miles through 28-degree water. It approaches resting seals on isolated ice, using wind direction and current to narrow the distance, until the only response left is a reflexive slide back into the sea. At the far north, every breathing hole becomes a crossroads of survival, linking ice, ocean, and fragile rhythm. And the one who endures, the one who understands the silence of ice and the timing of the sea, continues forward through the endless winter. At glacial river mouths, where the ocean meets the land, the beluga appears like quiet white ribbons moving through cold gray water. Each individual weighs around 3,000 pounds, traveling in pods and using the tides to move in and out of shallow bays. When the water recedes, isolated pools can become natural traps. Late winter or early summer brings conditions that allow rare encounters. The polar bear climbs onto a rock ledge about 10 feet high, patiently observing the surface below. When a slight ripple forms and a white head rises for air, the decisive moment arrives. Claws nearly 2 inches long, supported by powerful shoulder muscles, secure control in shallow water. A bite force estimated at around 1,200 pounds per square inch can firmly prevent escape. Even so, this strategy depends entirely on tidal rhythm and occurs only in limited situations. Along the fragile boundary between water and ice, this is not merely a display of strength, but a test of patience and terrain awareness. If the opportunity passes, the bear withdraws quietly and continues along the coastline in search of another chance. The Arctic is an unforgiving land, where survival can turn into harsh confrontation between members of the same species. When sea ice, the lifeline of the hunting grounds, shrinks to only a few scattered square miles, fragile balance begins to collapse. Ritual displays of restraint fade, replaced by cold territorial drive. An encounter begins with a display of strength from two massive bodies weighing more than 1,500 pounds each. Slow advances and low, resonant growls deliver a clear warning. Most confrontations end in demonstration alone. A powerful foreleg strike enough for the smaller bear to retreat, yielding the key to the territory so energy can be preserved. Yet when hunger persists, biology reveals a harsher reality. Cubs may become targets. A mother bear, even at half the rival's weight, immediately positions herself as a living shield between danger and her young. At that point, the struggle is no longer about territory, but about the continuation of lineage. Facing the sharpened teeth of a determined rival, the mother bear launches relentless defensive charges, a powerful reminder that maternal instinct can be one of the most formidable forces on Earth. When summer arrives and drifting sea ice pulls beyond reach, the polar bear enters a new chapter of survival. Moving away from the ocean, the white giant, weighing close to half a ton, begins a demanding journey across some of the harshest terrain on land in search of alternative food sources. At northern streams, the polar bear takes on another role. It stands quietly in frigid water, watching the current and waiting for precise timing. In a swift, accurate sweep, the surface breaks, bringing the brief chase to an end before a silver salmon can clear the rocks. Whether on sheer cliffs or within rushing streams, the polar bear demonstrates remarkable adaptability. The ultimate advantage that allows it to endure in a world that continues to change. One shift in the swell, and the ocean changes hands at once. Orcas drive forward like black and white streaks of discipline, closing distance before anyone can register the change. From frigid ice flows to migration routes stretching thousands of miles, every meeting point can become a test. When the formation tightens, speed is only the surface, while collective intelligence becomes the sharpest edge. And the only question left is which side can hold its breathing rhythm when the orcas begin to calculate. Although often called killer whales, biologically, orcas are the largest dolphins on the planet, reaching lengths of over 30 feet and weighing more than 12,000 pounds. Their highly developed brains allow them to remember routes, recognize individual calls, and retain strategies passed down through generations. Each population has its own distinct culture, from coordinated hunting methods to communication sounds, and even preferred diets shaped by regional waters. Across the open ocean, orcas are not only apex predators, but also symbols of intelligence and the rhythm of ecological balance. Seals spend most of their time resting and raising their young on frozen ice floes, like natural fortresses amid a harsh ocean. With compact bodies weighing around 600 pounds and quick reflexes, they are accustomed to hauling themselves onto the ice to avoid hidden dangers beneath the dark water. In that vast white silence, a sense of safety seems assumed, though it is, in reality, always fragile. Beneath the deep blue surface, a pod of orcas quietly emerges, studying the ice flow like strategists reading terrain before an operation. This is the moment when the wave-washing technique is prepared, a tactic that only works when every individual follows the shared rhythm with absolute precision. When the timing is right, the orcas swim side by side at speeds exceeding 25 miles per hour, driving straight toward the ice in a tight formation. Just a few feet from the target, they powerfully sweep their tails in unison, generating mechanical waves that cause the ice surface to tilt and break apart. The seals are forced to slide into the freezing water, where the orca formation is already in place. The hunt concludes quickly, without chaos and without waste. For the orcas, this serves as clear proof that in nature, collective intelligence and tactical discipline can overcome any advantage of position or raw strength alone. In nutrient-rich yet treacherous waters, the line between survival and loss for sea lions is thinner than ever. An adult weighing close to 1,500 pounds often relies on the group and rocky shores to rest, appearing secure within the vast ocean. But the moment one individual drifts away from the group, that position shifts immediately. Below the surface, orcas emerge with near-silent precision. There is no disorderly pursuit. The pod divides into controlled roles. One individual moves in from the front to restrict the direction of travel, while others cut in from the sides, accelerating to speeds that can reach up to 30 miles per hour to close the gap. Pressure is maintained without pause, forcing repeated course changes and steadily draining energy. As space tightens, the sea lion is left with only one option: moving towards the shoreline. In sub-Antarctic regions, rocky coasts become a new boundary of survival. Here, some orca pods apply a technique known as intentional stranding, timing the tides to surge briefly into shallow water and reduce distance in an instant. Other individuals generate waves that make the rocks slick, limiting any clear path back to deeper water. Terrain, timing, and formation merge into a single coordinated plan. When the surface settles again, what stands confirmed is more than strength alone. In the natural world, those that command strategy and timing are the ones that hold the advantage in survival. Dolphins are often described as the ocean's silver arrows. With streamlined bodies that can surge past 20 miles per hour, they can change direction in an instant, guided by echolocation and powered by strong tail muscles. When moving as a pod, they become a living shield, constantly rotating positions to protect one another. But orcas understand that pattern. They do not pursue through chaos, but through a carefully staged plan. One group holds pressure from behind, creating just enough psychological stress to keep the dolphins accelerating without pause. The other group quietly blocks escape routes ahead and along both sides. The wide sea is suddenly reduced to a narrow corridor, where every sharp turn becomes another costly drain of energy. As the formation stretches and fatigue begins to fracture the protective screen, one individual that falls out of rhythm is quickly isolated. That is when the orcas launch the decisive burst, closing in from a blind angle with exact precision to end the chase without wasted motion. In this encounter, the winner is not only the one with speed, but the one with the ability to read fear and anticipate each reflex. Once again, orcas show that their greatest strength is coordination, moving like a single organism in the open ocean. In the vast open ocean, the blue whale appears as a living monument to evolution, the largest animal ever to exist on Earth. With a massive body stretching close to 100 feet, it glides through deep water like a dark blue giant, seemingly untouchable. Yet that great size is no longer an absolute shield against the ocean's harsh rules. A pod of orcas, led by an experienced matriarch, closes in with careful control. There is no chaotic rush. Instead, They execute precise teamwork, learned and passed down across generations. Individuals rotate in and out to press close, cut off the route of travel, and apply constant pressure to the blue whale's immense body, step by step forcing its blowhole below the surface. The encounter quickly becomes a test of endurance, where breathing, the key to staying alive, turns into the critical weakness. Even as the giant tries to respond with bursts of speed and powerful tail sweeps, each attempt to break free only drains energy faster. In the end, against the pod's steady persistence and cold coordination, the blue whale collapses, a clear reminder that in the modern ocean, intelligence and strategy can rise above sheer size. Beneath the turbulent swells off the coast of Gansbai, a great white shark weighing close to 5,000 pounds patrols with measured control. It is a finely tuned predator, with a bite force estimated near 4,000 pounds per square inch, and a highly sensitive ability to detect faint electrical signals, enough to pick up a nearby heartbeat at close range. Its rough, sandpaper-like skin, built from millions of tiny tooth-like scales, helps reduce drag, while also providing protection. For a long era, the great white stood as a seemingly untouchable symbol of dominance. But from deeper water, a dark shape nearly twice as large moves in. A pod of orcas does not rely on chaotic instinct. It advances like an organized unit. Using echolocation, they map their opponent with precision and focus on the liver, a high-energy reserve that can weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Instead of meeting those teeth head-on, the pod closes in through layered positioning, using turbulence and swirling water to disrupt the shark's electrical sensing. The moment the solitary predator loses its bearings, the lead orca delivers a rapid strike from a blind angle beneath the body, flipping the shark in an instant. A state known as tonic immobility takes hold, leaving the shark fully unresponsive. The encounter ends quickly and with clinical efficiency. The ocean reflects a hard truth. Collective intelligence can sit at the very top of the food chain. Along the northwest coast of North America, gray whales embark on one of nature's greatest journeys, a round-trip migration spanning more than 10,000 miles between icy polar waters and the warm lagoons of Baja. Weighing up to 90,000 pounds, each individual moves like a living vessel, crossing the ocean at a steady pace of about 5 miles per hour, carrying an entire breeding season and the memory of millions of years of evolution. But at narrow coastal passages, the pressure of survival begins to rise. Orca pods follow with patient persistence, moving like distant shadows, waiting for moments when currents become unsettled or when a mother and calf are forced into shallower water. There, the immense size once seen as strength turns into a burden, slowing movement and draining endurance with every attempt to adjust course. The Orca formation operates with machine-like precision. One group moves across the front to disrupt swimming rhythm, while others repeatedly slip between positions like living wedges, steadily breaking the connection between mother and calf. Every movement unfolds beneath the surface, allowing the pod to conserve energy, while the whales gradually lose access to oxygen-rich water. This is not simply a pursuit, but a fragile boundary where nature's strategic design collides with one of the most powerful expressions of maternal bond on the planet. In a land that seems shaped only by ice and wind, every footprint tells a story of adaptation and balance. The polar bear endures not through strength alone, but through its ability to read one of the harshest environments on Earth. If those moments inspire a deeper connection with the natural world, Pressing Like helps support the journey. And when viewers subscribe, the next stories from the frozen frontier will always be ready to unfold.